Barnes, and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Ocean of the Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and Crystal Davis. Take it away.
My followers, how are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning. All depends on where you are in the world. Welcome back to another live stream. I'm going to try and keep it very short and sweet because I'm expecting the big heavyweights to come out in the next hour. I think you're going to be having the Carter Media House. He's up next live after I close up on my live stream, followed by the landlord. He did say he was live yesterday, so Elite Sports TV, he's going to be going off live. And to close off the evening, you have the king, you got royalty closing off the evening. So do keep your eyes and ears peeled across our unique football community, unique space. All right, guys, I still have a gripe from yesterday, thanks to the Maverick and also the interim head coach of the men's senior national team of Jamaica, that is the interim head coach of the Reggae Boyz, Rudolph Speed. So I'm going to stick a pin in it and backtrack onto yesterday's interview, which was from the Sports Explosion on Hits 92 FM. Still carrying a gripe from yesterday. It still bothers me, some of what was said. I don't know if it bothers you guys, but it definitely bothers me. Now, here's the big question that I want to ask you guys based on what was said in yesterday's interview. Why is it that a reggae boy or Reggae Boyz can dictate the off-the-field tempo when it comes to the senior men's national team, but can't do the same, or I should say wouldn't dare do the same when it comes to their club or respective clubs? I think it's quite clear and obvious why that is. I probably sound like a little bit of a broken record because I've definitely mentioned the reason pertaining to why that is on a number of my shows. So my apologies at early doors if I do sound a bit like a broken record. But what I'm going to do is stick a pin in it, and I'm going to play that interview for maybe, let's say, less than 2 minutes. Then I'm going to share my thoughts with you guys pertaining to a little dictator or dictators that we have in the senior men's national team, the Reggae Boyz. Bit of a shame that they can't dictate the tempo on the field of play. So let's go ahead and give it a listen. If you can't hear me, do you go ahead and let me know in the comment section. I'm about to play that interview from Hits 92 FM. It was a show from yesterday on the Sports Explosion. So if you want to listen to that in its entirety, you could go ahead and download their app. Don't be a fool like myself. I tried to go back through their website and listen to it, and it just wasn't working. So it's a dead end. Don't try the website, try their app. Okay, so make yourself comfortable, and let's go ahead and listen to that small little snippet there, an exclusive by the interim head coach of the Reggae Boyz, that is Mr. Rudolph Speed, in conversation with the Maverick.
You have my team, me want chief team, right? You said, as a coach, I want got to work up. One of the first one, I want coach my national team. Those are things where you know, guess or no? The JFF want the money. Me want the money because me get a bonus if me go. Yeah. So you see what is happening now? Now we have goal congruence. That is the most important thing, and that is my job.
What's that? Expound on that.
Me and them, although we might have them in a different order. You have the same thing, you know. You want Jamaica to work up, you want to feel proud, you want to
go and feel like we feel when we sit there.
Yeah. So all three of us have goal congruence now. So now my job is to make sure that they are aware where they want to achieve, where me want to achieve, or where the national team and JFF want to achieve. My job is to bring all of them together like this, so everybody achieve where they want to set out.
Your job is multifaceted. It's a whole part of things you have to do.
Yeah, but me know.
So you have to deal with the thing tactically.
Yes, but yes.
You have to manage the process, you know.
Yeah. So
I put it to you, my boss. Obviously, you have coaches that are more motivators than tacticians. You don't know if you're a database where you rely upon so much.
No, I'm training.
You have
that
coaches.
database. I'm training.
Are you training?
Training.
You don't know what I'm telling you.
No.
You know what I'm telling you?
My training on is football. That is a mistake. Yeah, they have other training.
Psychology.
Understand people think and how you get them to perform at their best.
And you don't go out to deliberately try to motivate them to get them to perform.
That's a part of it. But
Isn't that a big part of it?
yes, but trust me. You see, when somebody wants to do something, that's better than you motivate.
No, but all right, speed. If you find the people who inherently want to do the thing, I want to achieve the thing, you know.
Those are one of me I look for.
Your motivational work will be less.
Yes, and those are ones that I look for. So, I try to make it.
Start from a selection then.
Yes, the people them who want to play for them country. Right. Yeah. That's
all right. We have another call on line. Morning.
So not a man who want to come here for go party. Not a man who want to come here for sleep, go to the hotel, go and all them things. No, me don't want you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, but also, I want a man who is good enough impressing coach. Trust him. Because remember people say the Jamaican coaches they're not good, or the foreign coaches they're not good. But if a foreign coach don't trust you, why me should I trust you? His answer to the selection is so key as who come.
You have one-on-one with the players?
Yeah. Like call them now?
Conversation.
No.
Since you've got
I spoke to some players. Yeah, not all.
Players you consider key.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because me and you sit down here and no coach who call players. And what players are a type of human being. Once you start talking to them on a level, them things that game secured.
No.
Hold on. No, but the history. Hold on. Don't say that. I know a coach who call a particular player because sit down there and live in him and talk to him. And then what happened? The coach try to discipline him after that and it become an issue. Right? And then people have coaches, take the coaches and when they say, and they say, but you and them are players that say, now come unless you guarantee me, say me have a play. That happened now, you know. Yes.
I'm always saying, now come unless you then that the man no business on the spot.
Yes, but coach,
Probably, I'm hoping that you guys heard that right there, right? If you didn't hear it, then do let me know and I'll try to go back and play it again for you guys. I think probably the only part that I disagree is where he clearly hasn't spoken to all players. I'm not sure if that's going to change in the coming weeks. I am assuming it will. It will change with him reaching out to players and speaking to players. And I think it's something that he should do, even if it's for the players there that won't be called to the subsequent fixtures. First up against New Caledonia, followed by, hopefully, fingers crossed, the biggest showdown against DR Congo. I think for those players there who may not be part of the future plans, I think it's a good idea in terms of respect just to reach out to those players and say, hey, look, thank you for getting us thus far, but going forward, you're not part of the plan. I don't think you should just move on and leave them in the dark, because you wouldn't like if someone did that to you, would you? Plain and simple. So I do think that he should, at the very minimum, reach out and speak to all players. Then again, I do understand when it comes to a particular player, be interesting to think to find out whether it's just one player or if that's has since multiplied. So it's just him kind of dealing with more than one dictator. I can understand why he hasn't reached out and spoken to that particular player. I do believe that when it comes to coaches and players, that you have to respect the hierarchy. Yes, I know some people are going to say, well, what if the hierarchy don't respect the players? I'm not talking about politics. I'm just speaking about in general. There has to be respect, and of course, respect is a two-way street. You can't respect the player. You can't expect the players to respect you if you don't respect them, and so to speak. But I do definitely think that we should be reaching out to all players, because if you don't reach out to all players, then some could easily say that, you know, you've only spoken to your favorites, even though he has said, you know, it's not a case of I'm speaking to my favorites or speaking to players that I will likely call upon. I just think it's a good idea to just speak to everyone, just so that you remain on good terms, because the gaffer did say earlier on in that particular interview there that both him and the vice captain Damien Lowe and also Andre Blake, the captain, the skipper, they're all on good terms, which I said on my show yesterday with King, and was later joined by Ryan LFC, that it's a good thing. It's a good thing to hear when the gaffer and the leaders what we know that the leaders in terms of the leadership group, the head of the leadership group, are all singing from the same hymn sheet. Long may it continue. But going back to my gripe, the biggest concern from yesterday's interview, and I know we're all probably singing from different hymn sheets here. We're not singing all from the same hymn sheet. Some of you have a bigger problem with ruled out speed, and so whatever he says, I think some people kind of train their ears to just find the negatives, and the negatives always has to be centered on him. To each their own. But for me, I've seen a bigger gripe that worries me more so than what ruled out speed said in the interview. Why is that? Because if we're all saying that, you know, this is ruled out speed and he's XYZ, then is that a big news story? Because surely you should know what to expect from him. So for me, that's not the biggest news story in terms of how you guys have looked at the interview from yesterday. So going back to my big gripe here as it relates to a particular player, again, I don't know if it's a player or players. I think the reason why you don't have Reggae Boyz or a reggae boy that would try to pull a stunt as such when it comes to their club, but they will do something quite different, quite the opposite when it comes to the national team, is because the national team, I've said it so many times that I don't think that we have any standards. I do feel like it's a free-for-all. I think when you have players trying to come into the national team, or a particular player coming into the national team, try to dictate the tempo and basically saying, look, he's not going to accept a call-up if he's not guaranteed minutes. I think it's a load of nonsense. It's a load of bollocks, and no player should be guaranteed minutes. I've said this so many times on my live streams, like several different live streams, that should not be a thing. Like, you should not be guaranteed minutes. It should be a case of the best players will start the match, and we will turn to the bench if needs be. Now, I think the reason why you don't really see players pulling that type of stunts with their clubs is because unlike the national team, where there's no standards and there isn't that immediate consequence to their action. With their club, it's quite the opposite. If you go and tell your club, picture a reggae boy saying to their club, especially when you're talking about those notable clubs, they're in the high profile league, that they're not coming to training if they're not guaranteed minutes in the next coming fixtures, the club will probably more than likely wash their hands of them. I think bare minimum, you can definitely most certain consider yourself receiving a heavy fine. That's not unusual. We've seen players receive fines before for our respective clubs here and there across various leagues, whether that's in Europe or elsewhere. So you can expect, when it comes to the clubs and you trying to dictate the off the field tempo, you can most certainly expect your heavy fines. You can even expect to be exiled from the team. Whether you guys agree with that or not, you can definitely expect some sort of action. So, you know, we've seen situations where players have been made to train with the youth team away from the senior team because they're seen as some sort of a distraction. Now, adding to that, depending on how severe the consequences, at times you will even see players being put in the shop window now and gradually phased out of the club entirely. Now, obviously, club football and international football isn't the same. So the punishment and the consequences of your actions and your words can't be the same, because club football and international football is different. But what I do expect is the bare minimum is discipline. There has to be some sort of actions that come from your lack of discipline and your blatant disrespect. I just don't understand it. Again, I've been thinking about it all day long. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know who the player is, and I have no desire to want to know who the player is. I couldn't care less if you're my favorite player. We've all seen this Reggae Boyz team play as individuals and as a collective. And for me, it's a case of saying, you know, if you can't dictate the tempo on the field of play, if you can't be the engine for a 90 minutes plus, then how dare you try to be the boss in the dressing room, or how dare you try to size up when it comes to the head coach and say to the head coach that, you know, you're not going to accept a call up if you're not guaranteed minutes. I don't really think there's any way that you guys can fancy that up. I don't think there's any way that you guys can pretty that up to say, oh, but what if? I think some people might say to themselves, what if the player was coming off injury injury and they're just saying it because of no, that's a load of bollocks. Still, if it's a case of you're trying to do things precautionary, then you shouldn't be called to the national team anyways. You shouldn't be called to the national team anyways, because clearly you're asking about making sure that you get minutes. And that for me is a massive, massive problem. It's a difficult problem, because you know how it goes. If you have one bad egg, then chances are there are more bad eggs in the pack. I'm hoping that's not the case, but if it is the case, then at least I'm hoping that Ruder Speed will do something about it, because as I said, no player should be entitled to minutes. It's an honor to receive a call up, and no player should be entitled to receive minutes. Not even 60 seconds you should not be guaranteed to receive. That should go down to the best players, the players who are deserving of being in the starting 11 and also coming off the bench as well. And obviously, how do you determine that? You do that by looking at what the players have done at club level for their respective clubs, and also what they're doing in training. And also when it comes to the game plan, if you don't fit the game plan, then why should you be entitled to accumulate minutes just because of who you think you are? I'm not in agreement of that. For me, when it comes to the national team, behavior is a must, discipline is a must. If you're not on board, we all know that there is no I in team. You're either going to be a team player or a spectator, and that's something I've been doubling down on multiple live stream. For me, you're either a team player or a spectator. It all depends on what Ruder Speed wants to do with either a player, or hopefully it's not more than one player, because he definitely would have his hands cut out. But I think one of the things that these players definitely forgotten over the years when it comes to the Jamaica national team is that the jersey that they're wearing, it doesn't belong to you. I don't know if they're like deluded or if there's something wrong with them. I can't quite put my hand on it, but the jersey that you're wearing don't belong to you. Like, it doesn't belong to you. Yes, the name on the back belongs to you, but the shirt itself, it doesn't belong to you. Quite literally a lease. Like, you are not the owner of that shirt. So don't get too comfortable. Don't get brazen. Like, respect the shirt, respect the badge, respect the 12th man, and also respect your backroom staff, and respect your teammates as well, because clearly there's arguments there to suggest that it's quite the opposite. Hopefully we're on a new slate and things will change in the next coming weeks, and by the time we put ourselves in camp for that big showdown against New Caledonia, hopefully there won't be any issues in camp. But again, going forward, I think I've said this before, definitely on my live stream, that post the current World Cup cycle, it's time for us to just move on. It's time for us to just press on forward. I think we need to do a shuffling of the deck, which starts from the top. It definitely starts from the top and trickles its way down. I have a feeling, and I'm pretty sure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet with this one. I do have a feeling that Rudolph Speed is here to stay. Only Rudolph Speed and the guys in the high echelon of the Jamaica Football Federation know whether or not he is here to stay. But I think he's here to stay, based on my observation. Also, with the inclusion of Michael Donaldson, Arsenal's U16 coach Michael Donaldson, I feel like Speed is probably now looking at bringing youth into the senior team in its abundance. And I think we all know that his best work is when he's working with younger players. So that's kind of what I'm latching onto. I'm just thinking to myself, again, just my observation, nothing factual, that he is here to stay. And because he is here to stay, you can expect to see the team get younger and younger. I think it's safe to say that we do need the change of the old guard. I think we're now after the closing of this current World Cup cycle. Again, what I'd like to see is changes on all fronts. I can't sit here and say that there's going to be a head coach change, because I don't think there will be a head coach change unless a miracle happens. I think that one is probably done and dusted, that Rudolph Speed will end up getting a permanent contract at some point this year in some form of announcement. But again, going back to what I said earlier on in the stream, I think it's time for us to say our thank yous keep things amicable and on a positive note. I think we've reached that junction where we just need to say our thank yous to some of the players, and I feel bad saying it, but obviously the more experienced players who have just pretty much reached the end of the road, and no one can represent the national team forever. It comes to a point where you just have to close that chapter and move on. So I am hoping that post the World Cup qualifiers that we will see a change of guard again. I don't think it's going to happen where the head coach is concerned, but definitely where the players are concerned, say our thank yous and move on to the next generation. I'm tired of being disappointed. I'm tired of the internal politics. I find it so peculiar that some of these reggae boys, they have all the energy for the fan base, they have energy for head coaches and their backroom staff, they've even got energy for their own teammates, but they don't have energy for their opponents. So they can't dictate the tempo of the game and see off their opponents, but they can dictate the tempo of the field of play. They can fist up their teammates, which not something that I condone, but it's hardly a news breaking story because players fisting each other up in training is pretty much a norm in football. But again, I just find it kind of funny that you're able to do all of that, but when it comes to being a dictator on the field of play, you've yet to do that. So for me, I couldn't care less who you are. It'd be interesting to find out somewhere down the line in the immediate future when the announcement is made for the intercontinental playoff, the dog fights, if we're going to be seeing or hearing of any players exclusion from the squad, and if they are excluded, would be nice to know what the reason is. I doubt there's going to be a player that's going to say to Rudolph Speed, he's not coming unless he is guaranteed minutes, because you know what they say, Duppy know who to frighten. So I don't think we're going to be getting any of that with Rudolph Speed as the interim head coach. I've said it before and I've said it again. Players should be called based on merit. Players have to earn the right to represent the black, gold, and green. It can no longer be given. We can no longer be calling up unemployed players. We can no longer be calling up players because of something that they did in the last World Cup cycle. And it was probably something very, very minimal. They probably did a few step overs, wow the crowd, wow the backroom staff, and all of a sudden they're a world beater. Enough of that. We've got to higher our standard and we got to act accordingly. And we have to put our foot down and we have to put out those disciplinary actions with immediate effect. Don't delay the disciplinary actions. Put it out with immediate effect. If it's to do with heavy fines, let it be heavy fines. If it is to do with a temporary accent of the national team, so be it. Other countries have done it. Can remember when England axed Chamberlain, the Ox, and that was nothing to do with politics, but he was once axed from the England national team, and upon reflection, he said it was a kick up the backside. It was something that was needed. So I think sometimes we may have to consider in the near future if there is any pretenders in the dressing room, because again, if you can be a dictator of the field of play, but you can't dictate the tempo on the field of play, then you're a fraud. You're a pretender. So with the pretenders, they need to now know themselves and they need to be asked. Now, if you're going to be asked, is that for a game or 2 games, 3 game? I'm not really sure, but I kind of feel like that's what we now need to do with the indisciplined Reggae Boys. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comment section before I love you and leave you. Nakada Media House will be going live in a few. He's got you covered with some Champion Leagues talk, and he's going to be giving you the latest update on the Reggae Boys. All right. Warren Webster, big ups to you. You're at work, but checking in to say hi, but only watching Bonnie and Cole. Man, them mess with my meds. Big up the U17 boys. And this is what they don't seem to understand. Like, you're busy dictating stuff behind the scenes when your fan base are still feeling pissed. Months have gone on and the fan base are still feeling hurt. The fan base are still feeling pissed, but you have the audacity to be a dictator when you can't do the dictating on the field of play. It makes no sense to me. Big up yourself. I hope you guys in the comment section are in good health. Did he address this as a director? What is the question? Did he address what? I mean, in the conversation with the interview with the Maverick, he was basically giving an example. I'm not sure if speed address the issue? That's a great question. If you see him floating around the air, go ahead and ask him. If you see him out and about, ask him. Ask him if he has addressed that issue as the director or a member of the board. That's a great question. If I am funding my trip, I would ask the same. Well, stay at home. Stay at home. Stay at home. Because there has to be some boundaries here. There has to be some boundaries here. I think John Barnes said it best, like, I'm not condoning certain behaviors as it relates to the running of the football team and how the Jamaica Football Federation behaved, but he did say, paraphrasing, when you're coming to represent Jamaica, you know what you signed up for, like, and it's true, when you're coming to represent Jamaica, you're more likely to be getting bully beef and white rice than steak and chips. You should know this. So if you're paying for your flight to come and represent your national team, one, you should not be in a position where you're paying for your flight to represent your national team. That does not give you a right to be an arsehole. That does not give you the right to act like you're Billy Big Bollocks when you're not. What have you actually done for your team when you put on the black, green, and gold? Be a dictator on the team, on the field of play first, and then perhaps we can say, well, actually, he's the man when it comes to the national team. Like, he's the one that digs us out of situations, so he has all rights to say that he's not traveling if he doesn't get any minutes. Again, no one in that national team, I don't care who you are, is entitled to minutes. I couldn't care less who you are. But let's just see. Okay, big up yourself. Do you like the Reggae Girls Squad call up? I haven't dissected the Reggae Girls Squad call up just yet. I might do that on another live stream, but I hope that you are well. I'm gonna have to love and leave you guys. I did say I wanted to keep this live stream 10 to 15 minutes, and I've gone over that. I've got my gripe off my chest. But as I said, do keep your eyes and ears peeled across the YouTube community. Next up, we have Nicardo Media House. I'm gonna copy a link to Nicardo's channel for you guys. All right. What did he do? I think he is live right now, so you guys can go over to, I'm gonna send you guys a link. Hold on, I'm gonna give you guys a link to head over to his channel, so you guys can press that link in the comment section, this link right here, and head over to his channel. I'm gonna go ahead and watch it along with you guys. All right, the question: would you pop up after several old trips? So they ask for a trade-off agent, a market their players. What are you asking me? Would you pop up after several? Are you saying, would I show up to represent my country after several old trips? No one's putting a gun to your head. No one's putting a gun to your head. Don't show up then. Don't show up then, because is this player the only player that's old? And I'm not saying that players should be owed money, but I'm standing firm on what I believe in, is that no players should be entitled to minutes. No player should be entitled to either start a match or be entitled to come into a game from the bench. No player should be entitled to that. That's not down to you to decide. That's down to the head coach to decide. If the head coach feels like, yeah, he should start, or yes, he should come off the bench, then so be it. But that's not down to you. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Where do you actually draw the line? And if one player can say that, then you open up the floodgates for other players to say something of similar ilk or worse. So no one is forcing you to represent the national team. Should players be owed money? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you're using one excuse or one example, I think, to defend poor behavior. That's what I think. That's what I think. Because what is your reason for wanting to start? Is it because you're saying that players are owed money? Yeah, okay, if you're owed money, again, I don't think players should be owed money, but I could also argue and say that, do you think that a player should start or be guaranteed minutes because they're better than their teammates? Show me the evidence to say that they are better than their teammates, levels above their teammates, so therefore they're entitled to minutes. Show me the evidence that says that. Only the big name player would say such. Well, you said it, my friend. You said it, not me. Big players or apology, we never heard it in the next line up. Huh? Big players or apology, we never heard it in the next lineup. I don't understand the last bit of your comment there, but yeah, look, it's probably too far gone when it comes to discipline for this particular cycle and the players involved. I think the lack of standards and the slackness is just too far gone. It's too deep to make drastic changes. In terms of what we hope to have, I think it's probably best to put that onto another World Cup cycle. Before we know it, we're nose deep into preparing for 2030, my apologies, FIFA 2030 World Cup. So whatever we're trying to implement in terms of freshening up and increasing the standard, we probably have to just wait for another World Cup cycle, the next World Cup cycle, I think, right? But they in the lineup. So are you saying despite the fact that players, I'm so confused. If you want to call in, please free to call in because you're spinning my head. I don't understand what you're saying. Speed is being hypocritical. Yeah, I understand where some of you are coming from with regards to what Rudolph Speed said, but also, again, for me, the biggest the talking point, the biggest talking point for me was what he said with regards to players and a player saying to a coach, not to Rudolph Speed, but to a coach that, sounds like he must be guaranteed minutes, which I don't agree with. He sits back, observe, making standards. Yeah, they're gonna say the argument to that is they're going to say better late than never, but you have to start from somewhere, don't you? But this is something that I've been crying out for a very long time. I wanted to see it under Steve McLaren, and it's kind of weird because as the technical advisor, I'm not really sure why certain things weren't put in place by Rudolph Speed. I'm not sure if he attempted to put certain things in place. Only he can really and truly answer that one, right? I'm not sure, so I can't speak on behalf of him. So we just have to wait and see. Maybe you guys have to pop into a press conference and ask him a few questions. Panda Farm and more, big up yourself. Players are overdoing it and not serious about representing their country, which I may get why, but still bad, and we must stop. Bow to none of them. So bow down to none of the players. I agree. I definitely agree, but I'm kind of looking forward to this cycle coming to an end. Hopefully it does end on a high note, and I'm praying to God that we do qualify for the FIFA Men's World Cup taking place this year. I do hope we qualify next month, but I am also looking forward to just moving on from certain players as well, because the toxicity is through the roof. They say one bad apple can spoil the lot. One rotten egg can spoil it. If you went shopping and you bought some eggs, a tray of eggs, and you crack one egg and you realize it's rotten, then your mind's going to tell you that the whole tray is rotten, right? That's usually the case anyways. I've never experienced cracking an egg and I have one rotten egg and all the other eggs are fine. For me, in my experience, when they've probably left them in the cupboard for too long or left them out for too long, one being rotten meant that the whole tray was rotten and needed to be thrown away. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. Like I said, I stayed way longer than I wanted to, so throw some questions at me before I close off, all right? Why, Nitro, big up yourself. Why did Hal Grimson tell McLaren he would not? He spoke on previous experience, but again, no one had a gun to the head of McLaren. He still took the job. McLaren still took the job. McLaren's not a saint. McLaren knew fully that he could not qualify us for the World Cup, but he backed himself. He backed himself and he backed polishing and enhancing his CV, which is his resume. Do I feel sorry for McLaren? No, McLaren knew darn well that he could not qualify us for the World Cup. By the time we exited the Gold Cup and he managed to create history, put himself on the wrong side of history, McLaren knew he weren't the man to take us to the World Cup. And based on what Mr. Speed said in that interview on Sports Explosion, Hits 92 FM with the Maverick in conversation, paraphrasing, when the JFF checked in with the Reggae Boyz, they were back in the gaffer. They were back in the gaffer. So if they're back in the, yes, you could probably say that they should be the one to call the final shots. Oh, you know, they're not going to sabotage the qualifiers if you went and got rid of the guy that they backed for someone that they wouldn't have backed. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. It is what it is. We're now going nose deep into the ankle biters, and we just have to hope for the best. We just have to hope for the best and see where it takes us. Massive thank you to those of you who hit the like button. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. I wanted to do a live stream a little bit earlier than last night. Last night, my live stream, I think, kicked off around maybe 4 in the morning. I was hanging on for their live. Chose the wrong time to go live. The heavyweight hitters were out last night, and when the heavyweight are boxing it up, fisting it up, you can't just jump into the ring. You got to know when to place yourself center stage. Not every coach can coach ego or a team. Is loud. Oh my God. You're spot on. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Not the coach can manage ego, for real. For real. But in the case of McLaren, he's been around big personalities throughout his career, hasn't he? But maybe Jamaican ego is different to the average man's ego. So yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. You're missing the point. There are major issues. Now, I understand what you're saying with the Jamaica Football Federation. I did say at the start of the stream, perhaps you wasn't tuning in, like what you guys saw as the big takeaway from the Sports Explosion interview is different to what I saw as the big takeaway, right? I'm not listening to hear something negative about Ruled Out Speed. I'm just listening to an interview, and if something piques my interest, then to me that is the big story, that is the exclusive. So hearing that we have a big I am in the team who is going to tell a previous coach that he's not accepting a call up unless he's guaranteed minutes, that to me is the exclusive. Not stuff that I already know of Rudolph Speed based on speculation, based on rumors, based on facts. That's not new, that's not exclusive. That's yesterday's paper. That's old news. That doesn't pique my interest. That doesn't pique my interest. So Brasildino, hello sir. You said so, Crystal. You throw away the rest of the egg because one egg is spoiled. Are you actually talking about the eggs? Well, if you're talking about the actual eggs, which I alluded to, I cracked a few and I realized, yeah, they're all done. So get rid of them. But if you're talking about the team, as in one bad egg, I'm not saying to get rid of all the players. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying having a rotten egg in camp can create more rotten eggs. One bad apple can spoil the lot. That's what I am saying. Speed did say that he don't want no party boys though, didn't he? Speed made it very crystal clear to us that he don't want no party boys. He basically said he don't want indisciplined players in his team. So I'm looking and I'm watching, I'm thinking, is he just talking the talk or is he actually going to back his chat? Is he just saying what he thinks we want to hear? Again, is he throwing shade? We all know that Speed likes to throw a little bit of shade here and there. He loves it. He loves to throw shade. So only Lord knows if that's what he was doing. I don't know. I was surprised you were live last night. I couldn't even pop up because of time. That's okay. Yeah, I went live in the early hours of the morning. I made a decision that I was going to go live, and I was like, I'm sticking by my decision. I have to go live. So I went live because I pretty much had to. I hadn't been live for a couple of days, and I got a bollocking from Elite Sports TV for not going live. So I really and truly had to give you guys a live stream. Right? Let's see what you guys are saying. Comment section. Apples will spoil apples. Eggs, though. Brazildino, speak with your chest, sir, in the comment section. Oral Tracy, go hard to show he ain't scared no more, says my takeaway is that the Jamaica Football Federation refuses to address their unprofessional behavior. But I'm not saying you're wrong, Nitro. I'm saying that's fair, but we know that. We know that. We know that. So for me, again, the biggest takeaway from that interview is in terms of the exclusive is that we have a player or players in camp that thinks they're the big I am, that is they're willing to try and dictate the tempo of the field of play, but they can't dictate the tempo on the field of play. Just what you see what I'm saying? So that to me is more of a pressing issue than what I already know of the Jamaica Football Federation. Speed is the bad egg, says Brazildino. Brazildino. The landlord is in the comment section. Big ups to you, Elite Sports TV, a man that needs no introduction. What time is you live? Because I told my viewers and subscribers that you're going live. You did say that you're going live yesterday, so you must be going live in a few. What time are you going live, Ryan? I'm assuming in the next hour. King's gonna be going live later on during the night, but I do think you're gonna be going live in a few. I'm going to be closing off in a couple minutes. All right, guys. What the hell if Speed call all local? I don't think he's gonna be brazen to call 23 local players. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He's not calling 23 local players. That ain't happening. He ain't going to be doing that. So, he's probably capable of doing some crazy things, but I don't think that's going to be one of them. By the way, who knew that there was Champions League football being played tonight? Because I wasn't aware of Champions League football being played until it was literally close to wrapping up, and I was like, oh, okay, Champions League football was on. Before I close off, I hope you guys have hit the like button. It does not cost you a penny. Does not cost you a penny. If you're watching this one back on replay, do let me know what's your thoughts on entitlement as it relates to players coming into camp. If a player is called into camp, should they be guaranteed minutes? That would add to disruption. If all 23 players are saying the only reason they're only going to accept a call up if they are guaranteed minutes, that's going to cause some disruption. How is that possible? Isn't it that you can only make 5 substitutions? Obviously, depending on whether you're playing a competitive match or friendlies, but if you have to guarantee minutes to all 23 players, then that's trouble. That's a problem. Let me check my time. So Ryan said he's going live between 7:25 to 9 p.m. That's Jamaica time. So you guys can go ahead and put that one in your back pocket, all right? That's the time when the landlord is going live. Tucker, Paul Hall, Grimmy all place the blame on the JFF, not the players. I take their word over Speed, says Nitro. Madrid versus Barcelona. Sorry, Madrid versus Benfica. How was that? How was that show? Tails 3923 says the tail is going to show in both matches next month. That Speed and the JFF is the problem, not the coaches. It's not just the JFF. Players are a problem as well. I mean, all this talks about motivating. Players to me don't need no more motivation. Go out there and get the job done. Go out there and get the job done. That's just my opinion, all right? But if you guys disagree, again, feel free to let me know in the comment section. But let me remind you, I'm not here to sing no one gospel. I'm not here to sing from your hymn sheet. So if you don't like what I have to say, that's fine. No one's going to force me to be anti-speed. Like I see your comments in the comment section, and nobody's going to force me to be anti-speed. No one's going to force me to be pro-speed neither. So it's fine. Like, we don't have to sing from the same hymn sheet. Again, there is no way that I'm going to listen to yesterday's interview and create an exclusive out of something that I already know. If you choose to do that, then that's fine. Like, we all interpret things differently. Again, my exclusive is for something that is not old news. An exclusive, I'm not going to give you an exclusive based on yesterday's paper. That don't make sense. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. But if that's what you want, then to each their own, to each their own. But don't try to put me in a box and expect me to sing from your hymn sheet. Football is a game of opinions. Football is a game of opinions, and we all see things differently at the end of the day. And what I try to do is be balanced, be objective. I can't please everyone, and I'm not going to try to please people. I have to do what feels right with me. And what bothers me is not something that we already know about the JFF and Rudolph Speed. Why should that bother me? We already know that. What bothers me is that we have some Billy Big Bollocks in the team that can dictate the tempo of the team of play, but can't hold their socks up and dictate the tempo on the field of play. That's what bothers me. That we've got some pretenders in the team. You got some pretenders in the team that they're giving it all the big end to their coaches and the backroom staff, possibly to their teammates, but they can't dish it out to their opponents when it matters. That's just dumbness. That's dumbness. I'm sorry, but that's just dumbness. Peter Mystic, I have not seen you in a while. I hope you're well. I can't remember if I've seen you since the start of the year. Happy New Year. I don't think I've seen you since the start of the year. Nitro, to be honest, I don't know if I've seen you since the start of the year. Tails 3923, same goes for you. My apologies. Happy New Year. I think it's what? We don't need to say Happy New Year now, but you guys are my viewers and subscribers. So love to each and every one of you. Thank you, Crystal. It's refreshing as I listen to a couple of YouTubers who just major in the minor just to be negative when there is so much more substance they could cover from the interview. Like I said, I think it's to each their own. I think, you know, when it comes to discussing the Jamaica Football Federation and the hierarchy, I think they've created a perception of themselves, whether that's intentional or unintentional, to the point where when people are listening to what they're saying, they just pick up on the negatives. It's almost like their ears is trained to pick up on the negatives. And I don't think people do that intentionally, but I just think that that's just the way that it is because of certain pattern of behavior. But just because I've found a different exclusive or found something that I think means more or something that to me is a bigger story, that doesn't mean that I'm better than someone else, or that doesn't mean that I'm trying to paint someone in a good light and paint someone else in a bad light. Like I said, to each their own. To each their own. Tomorrow is a holiday in Jamaica, so can run a 2 a.m. show. One thing with is going to try and get you out to do a show. Like when you're not doing shows, will be in your comment section asking you to do a show. Love to you, big ups to you. Brezeldino, respect Crystal's opinion. We can all respect each other's opinion. I welcome people's opinion, but please don't try to force me to be pro someone or anti someone, because I can't do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might disappoint you because I can't do it. I just can't. You know me and Jamaica not going anywhere when I see them disrespect Hutchinson for Whisper. Amari value 40 million, that Whisper. Yeah, and that was on the Paul Hall, wasn't it? And we've made some severe mistakes. We've made some severe mistake. And that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I'm hoping with a player like Omari Hutchinson that we can test the water and bring him back to us, you know, because it depends on what I don't think, and it's not because he's not capable. I don't think that England have him in their plans. So I'm hoping we can go and test the water and just say, hey, we want you to be one of the main players that lead us to the 2030 World Cup. I'm hoping. If Arsenal bottle it, should art. Oh God, you guys are desperate for Arsenal to not win the league. I see they shouldn't play each other after that win. You guys are desperate, but I see every time, Crystal, I listen in silent majority of the time. Okay, fair enough. I get where you're coming from. Fair enough. Big ups to you, Tails 3923. Guys, I'm trying to keep this under 1 hour because I find that it's more digestible when you listen back on replay. But don't rob yourself of enjoying the moment. Like just listen keenly. That's my thing. Listen keenly. Try to be as unbiased as you can. Just listen, because there's probably bigger stories there from yesterday's interview. But because it's Rudolph Speed and pretty much he's not a liked figure, you're not really, in my opinion, paying attention to different stories that is big and exclusive, bigger exclusives there, in my opinion. All right. But yeah, I hope you guys have hit the like button. In a couple seconds, I'm going to love you and leave you. I think I've done enough for tonight's show. So yeah, I'm gonna love you and leave you guys in a few. If you have any topics, any suggestions for a upcoming live stream, do let me know. But I'm standing firm in this. I don't care who you are, whether you're my captain or my vice captain, no player should be guaranteed minutes for the national team. No player should be guaranteed a call up. It all comes down to merits. You have to earn the right to represent the black, green, and but when you wear the jersey, you're leasing the jersey. The jersey don't belong to you. You're not a homeowner of the jersey. You're renting that jersey, and that jersey can be stripped away from you for any reason, whether it's because you're no longer meeting expectation, whether that's because there's someone out there that's better than you, whether it's because you lack discipline, whether it's because you don't respect the black, green, and gold, whatever the reason is, you don't have a right to wear that jersey. All right. That's just my opinion. And I'm going to be fair because I said that I would judge McLaren based on what he would do where discipline is concerned, aside from the football. And he let me down by not being disciplined and putting his foot down when he needed to. And I'm going to extend that over to Rudolph Speed, and I may have to extend it post Speed, whoever comes into the driving seat, and so on and so on and so on, because discipline is one of our biggest flaws, and that is the reason why we have yet to taste success. We're not disciplined. We don't have no behavior, and we can't just keep on talking about federation, this coaches, this. Sometimes the players are the problems as well. Sometimes the players are the issue as well. All right. So is it the federation that's telling a player to go and shake a leg and break curfew? No. But players do it because they know that there will be no immediate consequence. For me, what I would do is make sure that you're not in the next starting 11. If you go on to break curfew again, if you're showing signs of indiscipline, you're sitting out the next game, you're also being fined. And I'm letting the media know that you're not going to be in the starting 11 because of X, Y, Z. So I will name and shame, and I'm hoping that's what Rudolph Speed does, name and shame. I'm hoping that's what he does. And I'm hoping that's what all our coaches do. Don't protect indisciplined players. Because if they're not worried about the consequence that come from the JFF or the coach, because maybe they feel like they can just rest their hands on the coach's shoulder and all is well, I guarantee you they're going to be concerned and worried about the consequences that will come from the 12th man. Everybody knows that Jamaican football fans are not pretty, they're not easy. And I'm not signaling people to go out there and use players, but I'm pretty sure that they're not going to be playing about with the fans in the way that they would play about with their teammates and their coaches and all those around them. All right. The captain, what was the question about the captain? Well, Mr. Speed said the captain, Andre Blake, and the vice captain, Damian Lowe, they're all on the same page. They all say they get on. His words, not mine. Keep up the good work. I enjoy listening to you. Thank you very much. Easy to say. They've been trying to keep Madrid in the Champions League. Football Guru is present. I can't see him in the comment section, so oh God, I don't know what he's saying, but lies Amari miles ahead of Whisper. They play in the same position. The attitude I see from Whisper, he booking a ticket back to the JP. I don't think he's going back to the JPL. I really don't think he's going back to the JPL. I think he's already got a success story of his own. I think we have to be honest with ourselves, coming from schoolboy football and going over to England, signing for a Premier League club, He's now on loan in the championship with Leicester City. That is success. Remember, success is subjective, and he does have the talent to add to his current success. So I don't think he's going to be heading back to the JPL. I don't think anything in life is possible, but I think his career is going to be on an upward trajectory. I want what's best for him, because at the end of the day, he is young. He's a kid. And we have to remind ourselves, be honest with ourselves, at the age of 20, how many of us were the finished article? Really and truly, at 20 years old, how many of us were the finished article? How many of us were able to taste success at 20 years old, achieve our lifelong dreams, become the finished article, and say, you know what, that is it. That is it for me. I've achieved everything that I needed to achieve. We weren't the finished article. We were still trying to figure out life. And even if you achieve your dream, there should always be room for improvement. Even if you are the CEO of a business, you should still be looking at how do you upskill yourself. Because if you don't try to upskill yourself, you become stagnant, and your business will become stale and run down, and your competitors will fly past you. So even if you were 20 years old, like a whisper, and you achieved your dreams and accomplishments, and you didn't need refinements, I will be there enough to say that your dreams were small. Because to accomplish that at 20 years old, and to be the finished article to the point where you don't need to upskill yourself, that must be a really easy dream. That must be a super achievable dream. So I just think that he's not. I hear a lot of people thinking that he's going to go back to the JPL. And again, I think Whisper is in a position where people do beat him because of, you know, his closeness and his connection to his agent Craig Butler, and also some of the stuff that he said online. But I'm not defending his behavior online, but at the end of the day, I've seen grown men act worse. I've seen people, adults, act worse on social media within our YouTube space. And sometimes those are the same very people that saying they don't like him because of his behavior. I'm not condoning his behavior. 20 years old, he said some foolish stuff on social media, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be a failure. That doesn't mean that his career is going to go downhill. He does come from a sporting background where his family is concerned. So I'm sure aside from Butler, his family, they'll be doing their level best to ensure that his career doesn't go stagnant, his career push forward. They're not going to do this whole thing where he's going back to the JPL. I don't think that's ever going to happen, that he's going to go back to the JPL. I don't think it's going to happen. One thing about Craig Butler as well, he's a man that's full of pride. He's full of pride. He's not going to want, arguably, his biggest talent, up and coming talent, to go back to the JPL after playing for Chelsea Football Club. Yes, it is the U21s, but at the end of the day, it's not going to say that he signed for Chelsea U21s. It's going to say that he signed for Chelsea Football Club. His Wikipedia, his transfer market will say Chelsea Football Club. That was what I was saying above. No apology, but man in the starting. Oh, okay. Okay, I get you. My apologies. Upskill yourself. Need more of that reason. You need to upskill yourself. That's what I'm saying. I see a lot of people, and I'm not even talking about Tails 3923. I'm just saying I see a lot of people, grown adults, criticizing harshly criticizing this young boy and talking about XYZ. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, do you even upskill yourself? Because people forget that going out on loan is your way of upskilling yourself. In football world, that is how players upskill themselves, because the football is the 9 to 5. So when they're going out for development, they're going out on basically learning courses. They're upskilling themselves. When was the last time that you went and upskill yourself? When was the last time you went out your way to upskill yourself? I decided some months back that I was going to take a short course in PA, admin, and secretarial, just because I just wanted something to do. I was just like, all right, let me just go and upskill myself in that area. Not that I needed to, but I was just like, let me just go ahead and do that. But how many of you actually upskill yourself where your business is concerned? How many of you actually own a business for yourself that you can say, I'm going to set this up generational wealth for my kids and so on? But more importantly, even with your 9 to 5, how many of you upskill yourselves in your 9 to 5? The kid is literally out there on loan, upskilling himself, as is Kaheem Dixon. They're upskilling themselves. They're upskilling themselves. So that can't be seen as a failure. That can't be seen as a failure when a person is trying to develop themselves. That can't be seen as a failure. Yeah, crash courses. You got to upskill yourself. You've definitely got to upskill yourself. So you can't be mad. I can understand if you was just at Chelsea rotting and nothing all going. I could say, boy, it doesn't look good, but the kid is out on loan. And yes, I would love for Leicester City to play him more regularly, but at the end of the day, he's not a protected asset for Leicester City. He is the asset that belongs to Chelsea Football Club. So common sense should tell us all that if he doesn't get maximum minutes or play more game time than we imagine, it's not because he's not good enough. It's not black and white. We can't just jump the gun and say it's because he's not good enough. There's going to be more factual reason there. One of the most obvious reasons is that he's not a protected asset. God forbid if Leicester City goes down, obviously they're going to want to ship on a couple players. They're going to slash their salaries and so on. You know, West Ham, if West Ham get relegated and go to the championship, the players are facing a 50% salary slash. So you can imagine what that's like for players playing for Leicester City. So to avoid the possibility of a relegation, they're going to play their most experienced players. They're also going to play their protected asset if in case they need to ship them out. That is going to be one of the reasons why a Whisper won't get, or probably won't get, maximum game time. Not because he's not good enough, not because he had a bad game, but he is not a protected asset. One thing I know, Whisper should never be in the Jamaica national senior team unless he is doing something to be there. It's funny you said that because I think that is the reason why he made the move to Leicester City, right? Because I was speaking to a few of my brothers recently and they were saying, paraphrasing, that Speed is not going to be calling up U21 players. So can we not flip this and turn it into something positive and say, wow, so he's now listening to what Ruler Speed is saying. He's now saying, all right, the gaffer is giving me my orders. This is what I need to do to get a call up. I want a loan move. I'm going to Leicester City. Can we not look at it and say, well, the positive for Whisper is that he's now trying to impress the coach, is now saying, all right, these are your rules. I respect your rules. I'm giving you every chance, every opportunity, or I'm giving myself every chance, every opportunity to be picked. I'm not giving you a reason not to pick me. Can we not look at it like that? I'm just asking. Irrespective of his personal lifestyle or mistake, we still wish that he keeps elevating in the sports. He wins, Jamaica wins, like him or not. Absolutely. Whisper, work in progress. I think that's that. Are you guys done in the comment section? Let me know if you're done in the comment section. I think you are. Not that I'm trying to get rid of you, but I didn't want to do a live stream for 1 hour. But let me know if you guys are done in the comment section. But thank you for blessing me with a moment of your time. Feels good to do back-to-back live stream. Like, it's so therapeutic. I do love doing my live stream with you guys. Definitely helps to free up my mind. And football for me, as I always say, football is therapy. Football is therapy, guys. And that's why I don't want no one messing with my mental health. Like, football is really escapism. That's why people get pissed and angry when results don't go our way, because it's like, for some people, football is all they have. Like, football is the only moment in time where they just get to pause for 90 minutes. It's a distraction. It's a mental distraction, right? We aren't expecting him to have instant impact or get enough game time immediately, but I see him improving. Yeah, I do see him improving. I do see him improving. I think he's all right. I think he's in good hands. I think he's in good hands. But again, make sure that while you are being critical of certain players because of their lack of development, make sure you're developing yourself. Make sure you're doing your own personal development. If not for your sake, for your kid's sake. Because at least Whisper can say, if his little one wants something, I should think he can give it to him. He's making sure that he can put food on his kids' table. He's making sure that he can take care of his missus. Make sure that we all can do that for our own little families as well. You know, meanwhile, we're telling someone that they're not developing. Make sure you're developing in your personal life as well. That's just what I think. Go do them crash courses, like what RR was saying. Get yourselves on some crash course. Some of them are free. Some of them you just have to pay maybe a few £100, maybe between 100 to £200. Not sure how much that is in your neck of the woods, but go and upskill yourself. Don't just be so concerned about another person's development. If they fail, they fail. Meanwhile, they're upskilling themselves, though you're stagnant. You haven't improved. You're not improving. So your employer is going to look at you and say that you're not an invaluable asset to their organization because there's someone else that's upskilling themselves while you're stagnant. So upskill yourself. Real talk. Get a new skill. Yeah. I think those people there that have their what they called laborers. Is that the right word? You know those guys like the engineers, the plumbers, those type of guys, they have proper skill. What they call, like, is it tradesmen? What's the correct terminology for them? Those guys there, they got themselves a proper skill. They can never ever be jobless. They can't be jobless. They have proper skills. Once you're live, it's always out of your pedigree to control how long you stay, because your show has substance and open up more for another show too. Yeah, but I don't want to buy. I don't really a trade. Yes, thank you. We get there. We got there in the end. Some tradesmen. Yes, you can't. If you're a woman, you can't say tradesman, can you? But yeah, tradesperson or whatever. Yeah, utmost of respect for those guys, because my God, like, we can't do without them. Essential workers. Those guys are essential workers. The people, the dustbin collectors, essential workers. Think about it. Without them, there'll be little rodents everywhere. Those people there are loved, adored, and respected. Ball Pre TV, make sure you like and subscribe to Ball Pre TV. He will be going live on, guys. He's got something special for you, blockbuster stuff. Special, I'm telling you guys. I promise you, he has something special in store for you. I can't ruin the surprise, but make sure you keep your eyes peeled on his channel. Something special is heading our way. It's good. It's a good move by him. And this is why if you go to a struggling team and help them stay up, your value will go up. Or you're more proven to be in the national squad and even bigger opportunities will come in. Yeah, I don't think there's much of a negative with Whisper going to Leicester City. I think it's good. Again, I struggle to be critical, unfairly critical, when a person's career is on an upward trajectory. What I said at the start of the season, and you guys can verify that, I said the kid needs to be playing men's football. I watch him play for Chelsea and I'm just thinking, this is a piss take. He shouldn't be here. I'm like, he just shouldn't be here. And that's not me overrating him, but I'm just looking and thinking, he just looks so out of place. It's too easy for him. And I said, I want him to go on loan. I said, it's probably best that he goes on loan. And obviously, I picked the wrong club because I said Crystal Palace, just because of the relationship between Selhurst Park and Stamford Bridge. But he went to Leicester City, and I think that was a tactical move by Craig Butler, going to Leicester City, meaning he's closer to his compatriots. He's close to Bobby Reed. I think he's close to Brandon as well. He's also close to Mari Gray, another Phoenix, Leon Bailey. So in terms of family, familiar faces, friends, he's all right. And so is his little one and his missus. So that, for me, was a very smart and wise move, Don't know about you guys, but wintertime in foreign countries can be so depressing. Just can be so depressing. So yeah, you kind of need to be around people. Markland says more arms house business. I'm not sure what you're alluding to there, but yeah, let me know. A tradesman can't never go out of work because houses never stop build, refurbish, and it's yeah, I mean, tradespeople really should have their own little business. I always say to tradespeople, like, why don't you have your own business? Like, you're such an essential worker. You are such an essential worker that your business will never go out of business. People always going to need you. People always going to need you. All right, guys. I decided to stay with you guys a little while longer because of the comments coming through. See, let me check my last live stream. So yesterday, well, this morning's live stream, that's 2 live streams in a day. I don't usually do 2 live streams in a day. That was just over an hour, about 1 hour, 12 minutes. Let's see if I can keep this one beneath that. Right, any final questions? You guys got any final comments there for me? People might say it's a bad move, but look at it. Why does he have to lose? What does he have to lose going there? I think it's more, yeah, I think it's more gaining than losing, in my opinion, with Whisper. So all the best of luck to him. Long may it continue. Hope he's heading in the right direction. I think he's heading in the right direction, and hope it stays that way for him. Definitely hope it stays that way for him. I think that's that, right? I'll give you guys about 2 more minutes. All right, about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going, or less than 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to love you and leave you. A show that I wanted to do for 10 to 15 minutes. Look at that. It's gone over 1 hour. That's kind of what happens when you're having fun with these live streams. If you haven't hit the like button, do go ahead and hit the like button. Also have to give a special shout out to Miss Denise McFadden and also Dannery Peter Nella. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I feel like I butchered your name. Big ups to those guys there for joining my members channel. Love to those of you guys, to each of you guys, each and every time. What's the song? Fly to the moon and let me play the stars. I think fly to the moon. Irish vibes, yeah. Midlands weather is depressing. I went to Nottingham to watch the Reggae Girls play back in 2018, and that was in October, the month of October. I hated it. It was like a cold that I haven't felt in a very long time. Different, cold and miserable. This should be my last comment. Thanks for being consistent, and I'll always support when I can. God bless you. Panda Farm and more, make sure you check out his YouTube channel, all right? All that organic stuff, how to grow your scallion or your spring onion, however you guys pronounce it. He's also going to be teaching you guys how to grow your ground provisions, okay? The natural stuff. So do go ahead and check out Panda Farm and more. When is my next Reggae Girls live stream? Well, they're going to be heading to camp soon, isn't it? So I'm going to have to prepare myself for some Reggae Girls live stream. Attention does turn to the Reggae Girls in a few. So yeah, I've got to check my calendar with that one. I don't want to lie to you and give you a random time and not show up. All right. Good news too, I will soon be able to be on your live again as one of your panelists. I'm recovering good. God bless you. Hope your recovery continues in good strength. All right, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Sorry, the live stream went on for longer than I bargained because I was enjoying speaking of you guys in the comments section. Honestly, if I could let this live stream run forever, I would, but I don't need to. Remember, do keep your eyes peeled on Elite Sports TV. He's going to be going live. You can also watch Nakada Media House, and you're going to be treated to something very royalty over on Ball Pre TV later on. Grab your popcorn, grab something nice, and put your feet up. You won't want to miss that one. Thank you so much for blessing me with a moment of your time. If you haven't hit the like button, what are you waiting on? If you like what you heard and you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And you know how it goes. Until next time, take care. We built this out of love, out of pride, shining a light from the island to the diaspora to the world. A golden beacon of sports, music, and everything in between. The very best of Jamaica. We're little, but we're Talawa.